So I'm going to talk a little bit. I think I'm too loud for this, actually, so I'm just going to talk without it. So in order to contextualize what this looks like in the GTA, we have the Line 9, this map of Line 9, and I know it's very difficult to see. It's not that important. We also have a map over there. It's the exact same. But anyway, so Line 9, I'm going to give a little bit of a history of it, runs from Montreal to Sarnia. And this pipeline is incredibly old. It was built in the mid-1970s, so it's like 38 years old. And so currently, when it was first built, it shipped oil to the west. Yes, to the west. I heard a lot of yes, like confirming what I'm saying. Yes. So it originally shipped oil in the opposite direction than it is now. And Enbridge, according to their website, says that they switched this, they reversed the flow in order to accommodate market conditions. So this is one of the first times we can see that the markets dictate what the companies are going to do according to what? For the economy? Anyway, so the pipelines were reversed. But in 2009, markets changed again as increasing pressure rests in Alberta and the tar sands, the government, to get this oil out of the tar sands and into the international market. So in 2009, Enbridge proposed the Trailbreaker project, which is virtually the exact same thing as the Line 9 reversal project we're seeing now. The only difference is, in order to bypass public opposition and kind of undermine media, what Enbridge is doing is proposing this in sections. So Line 9A, which runs from Sarnia to Westover, has already been approved. So this is a quarter of the pipeline already approved, the reversal of it. Now, in Enbridge's defense, they're saying that this isn't the Trailbreaker project, that this is a brand new project, but I mean, because they're saying that the line 6B that connects the tar sands to Sarnia and all these pipelines that go into Sarnia aren't actually connected to Line 9. Okay, this is like a technicality, if not just like willful like miscommunication. Because as I just mentioned, the Line 9 was originally flowing in the opposite direction. So it is connected to Line 6, it is connected to Sarnia, and it is connected to the tar sands. So a pipeline that was built in the 1970s that was not meant to transport bitumen, which we've already talked a little bit about how dangerous it is now proposed to be flowing in this direction. Okay, so Line 9A has already been approved. It was approved in 2012, I believe. So now this August, the NEB will make a decision based on Enbridge's new proposal to approve the reversal from Westover to Montreal. Now again, this is one section. Enbridge is saying, so don't worry, it's not going to go to the coast, it's just going to refineries in Montreal. But if it's based on what we know of the Trailbreaker project, what we know that's happening in the West Coast is that the government and these corporations are looking to get this oil out of Canada. So we know that it's not going to end in Montreal. So where could it go? It could probably, tankers at the St. Lawrence. It could, Enbridge could partner with the companies that own the pipeline between Montreal and Portland, ship it down and off the east coast of the United States. It doesn't really matter where this oil is actually going. What we're saying is that it's not going to end in Montreal, and it is going to end in the expansion of the tar sands.
So as we've seen, the tar sands is posing a threat to ecosystems, rivers, and human communities that it passes through, as well as expanding the tar sands. And one thing to mention is, if you look at this map, all those yellow spots are
Each of these yellow spots in the GTA represent a significant waterway. If Line 9, this is a report, by the way, just to give this in context, it was released by the CTC. We have the full report here. If you'd like a copy of it, please feel free to write down your email and we can send you a full copy. Anyway, so each of these dots represents a significant waterway in which if Line 9 ruptures at and it will, just to clarify, it will rupture. If it ruptures along these points, it is immediately implicated into Lake Ontario, which, as we've established a couple of times throughout, provides water for 9.1 million people. So, and I mean, this is just a snapshot of the GTA. And already we see, I know it's difficult to see on this presentation, but this is like 90 or 100 waterways we're talking about. So the Conservation Authority has released a report that says, if Line 9, and it will, if it ruptures, the Lake Ontario is serious, it is in trouble.
Just to quickly clarify, for example, this Line 9 is exactly like the Kalamazoo spill in the U.S. that happened a few years ago, the largest oil spill in U.S. history. And what happened is it's a twin to Line 9 in age and the way that it's built. And this pipeline, I'm sorry if I'm taking notes from you guys, but I'm just trying to clarify. The pipeline, the lining is very old, and bitumen is very different from conventional oil. Conventional oil, just so you understand the technicalities of it, conventional oil that is normally shipped through Line 9 is that's what it was built for. But tar sands oil is very thick, and what they have to add a lot of additives to it in order to ship it through the Line 9, and they have to have it at very high pressure, so it's very abrasive, and so it's with the very thin lining, it's a recipe for disaster, really, what we're looking at. And these are the things that we're very, very worried about, really. And the possibility of it breaking. What happened with the Kalamazoo spill was that the tar sands oil, when it spills, what you see with a conventional oil spill is it floats to the top. But what happens with oil spill with the tar sands is there's two things that happens. It floats to the bottom. It's heavy. It floats to the bottom. And then the air, with what happens with it, the air, there's the additives, and they go to the air. And so you're breathing in the poisons. So that there's two poisons that happen, and they're still trying to clean it up in the Kalamazoo spill. So if this goes into the waters around here, and in our waters, as Indigenous people, our waters all over here, then this is something that we're looking at not being able to clean up. This is a danger to our people and to our waters. And you can continue to...
Just to briefly to show exactly what Missy is talking about, is 6B. This is the pipeline in Marshall, Michigan that ruptured, that leaked 2 million liters of the substance that Missy just described into the Kalamazoo River. Years later, they're still cleaning this up. So if this is line 6B there, we can see this is line 9. It is the exact same pipeline. It is the same coating on the pipeline that corroded. And the United States Transportation and Safety Board released an accident report that says the most probable cause of this leak, other than a lack of safety regulations, a lack of public awareness about the pipeline, was the corroding of the polyethylene coating along this pipeline. It is the same coating. Anyway, so now we want to ship a different substance in a different direction that's already in a pipeline that has already been reversed without updated safety regulations.
And just a note, in terms of it affecting all the water, because the GTA gets drinking water from, that right now our facilities are not equipped to clean the water. But let's imagine that we live in a perfect world and everything's going to be fine. There are no leaks through the pipelines. No super tankers are going to have an accident and everything goes well. Even if that were the case, this project would still be unacceptable because it is destroying a huge landmass. It's also very energy intensive. To give you an idea, it uses enough natural gas to heat 3 million homes, and several pipelines, including the Pacific Trail, are being built to supply the tar sands with natural gas, which is set to run out in about 30 years. So the government is proposing building 12 nuclear plants to provide the energy for that, and it's being discussed that the nuclear waste would be stored along the shores of Lake Huron. This is also very dirty oil, which is leading to climate change. Just to give you an idea, to produce 1 barrel of oil from the tar sands, it produces 86 to 103 kilos of carbon dioxide, as opposed to the other conventional production, which is 27 to 58 kilos. That's a lot of greenhouse gases, and it's affecting our policies. As we know, Canada was the first country to leave the Kyoto Accord, and it had agreed to meet the standard of lowering our emissions by 6% by 2012, but it's actually increased by 24%. And this is not just an environmental issue. We don't have time to get into all these social impacts, but just to say, it also has a huge impact economically, socially, and politically. If you would like to know more about that, you can meet us in the back.
Okay, so after we painted this very bleak picture of what's happening with the Line 9, we didn't want to leave with the message that people aren't resisting it. And Missy's really going to go into more of a description of how this is manifested. But you know, like we mentioned, Rising Tide in collaboration with so many other organizations and people are resisting this. So this isn't going uncontested. And Trailbreaker was shut down in 2009, largely due to opposition in Quebec. So it can be done again. I guess the message we wanted to leave with three pretty important points is: one, there are alternatives. Oil doesn't need to come down to a discussion between the economy and the environment. There are alternatives happening in different countries and in different parts of the world that are focusing on sustainable alternatives to such things as oil. Two is the market power and democracy. Nobody has been consulted. Well, I don't know if nobody has been, but most people haven't been consulted about this Line 9 project.
The public is not being consulted. The corporate execs have been.
Exactly. And as we know, it goes across 1,200 kilometers, just like this portion does. It will affect 9.1 million people, 99 major towns and cities, 18 First Nations. There's no reason why people haven't been consulted on this. And the people who have been articulating their concerns with this have demonstrated their clear opposition to it. Even the City of Toronto has applied as an intervener in the upcoming NEB process.
And the province of Ontario.
In the province of Ontario, other major towns and cities. So anyway, so we just wanted to leave these key points. If there's anything you're going to take away from our presentation, it's these three things, and yeah.
Expand on beyond binaries, please.
So we don't really have time. We have to move on with Missy, but basically beyond environment versus economy.